What was your "it's not a phase, mom" moment, and was it actually a phase? I tried everything to become a doctor. I tried thinking about it, tried doing nothing about it, and I tried thinking even harder about it. But alas, 'twas but a phase. Now on to becoming a fireman. Step 1. Start fire. My sister went through a phase where all she would do was listen to a thing called Wizard Rock. It was just a bunch of people singing Harry Potter songs. Look it up, it's on YouTube. Became a Wiccan in 7th grade. Had a box full of candles. Looked up spells online and even wore a pentagram necklace and made sure it was visible in my yearbook picture. Oh god. Our blundary is. Painted my nails black with Sharpie. Started wearing lots of bracelets at one time. Anything girly was stupid. And started claiming that I hated preps. Yep. Went through the emo phase 8th through 10th grade. I am nothing like that now 8 years later. I realized halfway through 10th grade that just being myself is so much easier. I'd argue that sometimes, especially when you're in that tween teenage range, it's tough to be comfortable in your own skin and know who you are. Trying to be emo goth, literally anything can be a way to help figure that out. If something was just a phase, well, that phase may not have been who you are, but it gave you some information on who you're not, which is sure a start. The cowboy phase. Frick that crap. When I was 4 or 5, my parents wouldn't let me watch Power Rangers because it was too violent. They didn't let me play with toy guns or G.I. Joes either. They did, however, let me watch John Wayne movies. There had to have been 100 of these colorized pink shirt sociopath cowboy movies on extra length VHS tapes. So like a proper kindergarten age boy, I got my ultra violence in. But not with the sparks, explosions and synth electric guitar solos and people in suits. It was all the freaking sensible Technicolor blood I could handle. Commercial free, and usually in a western theme. And you know what? I didn't care for the cowboys in general, but I was spellbound by whatever role John Wayne played, where he kills the frick out of whatever villain with stern, level-headed precision and no hesitation. I liked The Longest Day and all those wartime flicks. Also, the comedies, like North to Alaska, which was a break from the typecasting. True Grit and The Shooters were shining points. Basically every other movie was the same movie. And balls. I was only in it for the violence. But what did my parents see? Oh, it's so cute, he wants to be a cowboy, or let's buy him those tight Wrangler jeans and itty bitty cowboy boots and flannel button-ups and get him a nice hat and we'll take him to rodeos and he can have a lasso and lasso the fence posts and the goats outside. No, goddammit. I wanted blood like every other 5-year-old boy. The cowboy thing was incidental to the blood list, not the other way around. Just like the dinosaurs. That was all ranch hand balls. So yeah, the cowboy thing was just a phase. It was my parents' phase though. I'm glad they outgrew it. Excellent diatribe. Thank you. Drawing. I remember being around 10, going downstairs and asking my mom to get me some things so I could draw. She straight up said something like, "You can't draw." Thanks mom. Not many 10-year-olds can. There went my hopes and aspirations of a dream. Great minute-long phase. Parents should never say no to something that would cost $15 tops at the start. I love Harry Potter. I was so excited for my 11th birthday and my mum even let me clear out the understairs cupboard to make room for a bed. I lasted one night and there. Just a phase. This is why I shouldn't have kids. I would have encouraged that behavior and set up some elaborate hoax. Colorful letters, "We are hiding from you." Find ways to attract owls to chill around the house. Hire a giant biker to come to you late one night. Oh yes, you are a wizard Andy, but Voldemort won. Since you're not a pureblood, I've come to remove your powers. Dressing like Avril Lavigne. Back when Complicated first came out and I bought her CD, I worshipped her. Bought every magazine with her face on it. Wore a tie and white tank top, though I was too embarrassed to keep the tie on at school. Spent so much money on products trying to get my hair that straight. It stopped for a while until her third CD and clothing line came out. Then I had to have all of that too. I still look up what she's doing from time to time, but I'm proud to say I outgrew the phase eventually. And holy frick, she now has some of the worst fashion sense I've ever seen. Thankfully I developed a different style in the last few years. life being a magician. It started at 5. I stated that I wanted to be a magician when I will be old. My parents found that cute, bought me some magic boxes and said that it's not a real work and that's only a phase. I went to college to become an IT while continuing doing magic and had some gigs in the past. Doing my job, I was always thinking that I was at the wrong place, that I am a social guy that need to be in shows and things like that and that I have to do magic. Only thing possible or else I'm going to be sad. 3 months ago, they cut me at my job because of government crap. I went to a magic festival near my town, saw my friends who are magician. They are from different place across the world and I had a better idea on what it is to be a pro magician. I already knew it, but never had to see it that obvious. When I went back, I was convinced. Perfect timing to switch full-time magician. 3 days ago, started my own company as independent artist and now I offer my performances for any event like corporate parties, commercial fairs, restaurants, etc. I'm actually in the process of producing my promo stuff such as photos, Facebook page and continuing writing my show, keep learning other tricks and writing a routine for a contest in a magic festival next year. When I announced to my parents that I started my company and want to switch full-time magician, my dad was like, you and your magic. You always said that you were going to be a magician. Thought it would be a phase. Now that's a reality. I always thought it would be risky, but if you don't try, TLDR. Always wanted to be a magician when I grow up. Now I'm starting my dream job professionally. Illusions. Michael. Longboarding wasn't really because I got bored, but more because it got expensive and my town has the worst roads to try and board down. My college was better, but most of the campus were brick paved which made an insufferable noise and vibration. BRRRRRM BRRRRRM BRRRRRM. I wanted to be a race car driver, so I asked for a go-kart for Christmas. Not only did they refuse, they flat out told me I should give up and that I would never be a race car driver. That was 11 years ago. Now I'm going to college for engineering so I can get a good job and afford to race at an amateur level. I'd be lying if I said I don't resent them for it. Race car driver is the one of those careers that a kid will aspire to when they are little and hold on to for their entire life. I wanted to be a race car driver, too, but I wasn't from a racing family. Now I'm at college working towards a mechanical engineering degree so I can work on and design race cars in the future. It's crazy how much motorsport can impact your life. Best of luck to you. When I was in middle school, I had terrible fashion sense and poor hygiene. I would wear the same jacket every day, zipped all the way up. The jacket was like a second skin. Because of my growth spurt, my pants didn't really fit either. Also, I would go for days without taking a shower. My parents had to yell at me to take a shower, wear deodorant, and shave. It was that bad. I did this because I was depressed and didn't care about myself. I thought I'd never put any effort into myself because I didn't think it was important or was worth it. My mom told me that the depression was only a phase and the way I dressed was only a phase. Obviously, the depression part is a lot more complicated than that. Sometimes, I still deal with the aftermath of my depression, but I take care of myself now. I'm glad my mom was right when she said my lack of hygiene and low self-esteem was only a phase. At the time, I just thought it was the way I was and that I'd be like that forever. I too had a disgusting safety blanket hoodie. I've been a punk, a hacker, an atheist, etc. But my worst phase was probably my second year of college when I discovered armor lefacy on Advis. I thought about what people were wearing like 50% of my day. In class I'd look around to see who wasn't following fashion guidelines set by RMFA and every couple minutes I'd look down at my Clark desert boots and uncomfortably tight jeans with a smug grin thinking everyone's probably thinking about how cool I look right now. And it wasn't an art major. It was engineering where there weren't any girls and no one cared about clothes at all. So I was completely in my own sad OCD world. OCBD world. Fix that for you. I'm not an emo, mum. I seriously wasn't. She just kept buying me emo-y things. I didn't care at all if people did think I was emo, but my mum seemed convinced that I was going through an emo phase, when I was quite happy to wear pretty much anything I was given. I had sort of the opposite. In 8th grade I wore a lot of black. I recently heard my mom say I dressed moody that year. I was very happy that year and it was the first in a long time anyway. I just wore black because it doesn't clash and looks nice. Manga anime Japan. And, no, even though I'm not as into it as I was 7 years ago, I can still enjoy a good anime and some LRONCL. I'm in the same boat as you. I wasn't obsessed when I was younger but I loved it quite a bit. Now I just love Japan as a whole and like to watch the occasional anime when I'm bored or need a laugh. I was a vegetarian. I was pretty serious about it. I even did it for 2 years. From ages 16 to 18. But the minute I moved out and had to buy my own food, bye-bye. To clarify, when I went to college, I did not have my own kitchen for the first 2 years. So, I had to either eat out or eat at the cafeteria. The cafeteria did not have many vegetarian options aside from salads and pasta. My vegetarian phase began when I was about 13 and lasted clear into my 30s, until I got pregnant and started craving chicken and bison. Punk. It's been 8 years or so, and I still consider myself one. I stopped wearing mohawks, ripped jeans and such a long time ago when I realized that punk has nothing to do with the clothes you wear. I dress normally now and still go to concerts, festivals and such. It gave me a different approach to the world and a different way of thinking. If it weren't for the music, I would never be the person I am today. My parents told me I wasted too much time playing video games and that no one was ever going to pay me to play games for a living. In a way they were right. No one pays me to play games, but I do get paid to make them. Every time I ever disagreed with either of my parents about race, sexuality, politics, faith, or pretty much anything was always immediately attributed to my age. I was always told that in X years I would grow to understand and agree with them. Nope, they're still just incredibly prejudiced, narrow-minded. I used to play RuneScape in middle school. Not so crazy, right? Well, I also used to make RuneScape parody videos where I sang RuneScape related lyrics over songs. For X. Shorty got low, noob got owned. Yeah, that bad. I'm a girl, so I got away with it, but I'm embarrassed just typing this out. I'll give you 300 GP and a steel pickaxe if you be my GF. I was going to join the Amish church. I wore veils and cape dresses and everything. Did that for about a year and a half. Turns out, I am transgendered and was severely overcompensating. I think I just got Shyamalan. Insane Clown Posse. Also, this was 1997 to 2002. Admittedly, it was a very fun time in my life though. Oh, for the record, I am atheist. Death metal and any music with screaming. Yeah, it was just a phase but I have an understanding and appreciation for that style of music despite not liking it anymore. I hope I never grow out of metal. At 14 I thought heavy metal and death metal were the only good music out there. Now I listen to freaking everything. I used to be into the 9/11 conspiracy theories and watched a lot of documentaries about it. It took one South Park episode to realize I was being an idiot. Pokemon. I freaking love Pokemon. My mom told me by the time I was 13 I'd be over it. 19 now and still aiming to be the best trainer. To be fair, I am freaking shocked Pokemon is still going strong. Ear piercings. I got my first done at Claire's when I was 16. My mom said that's enough, no more. I tried to make do, had sweet Tinkerbell earrings I got at Disney, but I wanted more. I looked up how to pierce your ears at home and just went to town. Honey, why are there apples in the freezer? Oh, those are mine. I like them cold up. Okay, cut to 17. I have short dyed black hair, wore a scarf everywhere, living in Southern California, and painted my nails black daily. I had piercings up both my ears, about 10 on each side. I had an industrial too, and an eyebrow piercing I almost botched. I told you it's not a phase, mom. I am an artist. Cut to now. I am 27. I work in logistics, have short natural colored hair, no piercings at all, no nail polish and I only wear scarves to visit my folks in Colorado in winter, and I have a manly beard. I am a straight guy, if that helps clarify the above. I thought you were, but manly beard. The one time I don't assume everyone on the internet is male D. Not my mom, but my dad. When I casually mentioned I was bisexual, he got disgusted, then laughed and clapped me on the back and said that it was just a phase. It wasn't a phase. We don't get along. Same here. I told them that I was bisexual. They told me it was a phase. They were right. I'm really a flaming homosexual. I started studying Catholicism after my Catholic aunt died. I used to go to church with her when I was younger and staying at her place during the summer. My mom found out I was praying to Mary and got all weirded out, bitched at me and said something like, "I don't know why I'm so worried about all this. It's just a phase." "It's not a phase, mom. I'm going to convert." I think I became a Wiccan just a couple of months later. Talk about something that really freaked her out. Luckily that was just a phase too. I used to cut myself, not for attention, like a lot of people thought. I was going through some stuff no kid should have to experience, and cutting was a source of relief at the time. I really didn't see it as a phase. I thought I would always cut myself and probably never live past 18. I'm 29 now, and I'm proud to say that I haven't hurt myself in 9 years. The urges still come sometimes, but I've developed healthy coping skills that replace the ones I turned to as a kid. I used to be a super obsessed Twilight fan, then Grey's Anatomy, then Glee. I readily admit I have the worst taste in everything. Then I went kinda goth for a bit, still mostly wear black, but I like to think I'm not in any particular phase anymore. I regret basically all of my teenage years. Slipknot being my favorite band. My mum and older brother both bet me when I was 15 years old that I wouldn't still like Slipknot in 5 years, and if I did they would give me $20 each. I got my $40 bucks. Slipknot are heck good. I think people grow out of the fashion more so, or at least try and mold it into what society deems as acceptable, but you never grow out of the music. I thought I was going to be a science guy, got really good grades, got into the uni of my dreams, did honors, got first class and top of my faculty for the year, PhD scholarship, dropped out to bum around Europe and play music. I'm now a washed up 30-year-old music bum. Well, that was a fucking phase. I don't plan on ever having kids. My mom says once you find the right person to spend the rest of your life with, you'll want kids with him. What she doesn't know is I'm going to marry my boyfriend eventually, and still not have kids. I'm not having kids either. Been with my wife for 12 years, married for 6. We're both in our 30s. Neither of us wants kids. You're not alone. Vegetarianism. I was a grunge-obsessed adolescent, and getting really into hippie culture. Hey, it was the early 90s. Yo. Much to her dismay, I swore off eating meat, which made mealtime a pain in the butt for a while. She pulled out the big guns, though. She bought me the sweet leather jacket I had been hounding her for prior to my vegetarianism, and told me I could only have it if I stu and ate whatever she put in front of me. I folded like a house of cards. That jacket was tight though. I sometimes get into a pretty bad show out of genuine interest that I have no idea where it came from. It doesn't last long, but man, can a show snag me out of nowhere. The worst one was Caroline in the City. I'm still ashamed. Mum told me boys with mohawks don't graduate high school. I did, with high honors. Then I went to trade school, graduated that, then took on an apprenticeship and got the highest score in my journeyman exam for my class. 11 years from when she told me that. Still rocking the hawk. I told them I wanted to be a girl. They said it was a phase and sent me to therapy to cure me. 12 years later I'm finally transitioning. My very Christian mom keeps insisting my atheism and homosexuality is just part of a phase in God's plan, and I will return to being a Christian and a straight man after realizing he loves me. Had been to Christian living classes. Learned about God's love? Nope. Still a gay atheist. After watching some documentary I decided I wanted to become vegetarian. 2 days later there were burgers for dinner. Quit being vegetarian. Burgers. My lobster phase, which isn't really a phase as much as it's my life. I am a lobster. I was born a lobster in a human's body and I will die a lobster. Please, for the love of God, avoid hot tubs and rubber band factories. came out lesbian to my mum and she told me it was a phase because other girls faked being bi to get attention from guys and that it'd be straight again after high school or uni. Graduated both now and still lesbian. Guffrick that noise. People being bi for attention are the reason people tell me that I'm not bi because I'm a girl with a boyfriend. Well, that's how bi works. I've always told my parents I wanted to become a woodchopper. I am now a university student, but my childhood dream to become a lumberjack still persists. Edgy, punk rock hairstyles. But 8 years after my first mohawk, age 12, and I'm a girl, I still have pretty punk hairstyles. Right now, it's half shaved with a pink and blue peekaboo and a couple dreads. So no, I don't think it was a phase. To clarify, I am by no means punk rock. I get odd looks with my rocker hair, because I'll pair it with a lavender, flower printed dress, and high heels, or some girly outfit like that. With the exception of my hair, my whole style and personality is very girly. I don't know why my hair gets to be so edgy. I guess I like it. After reading The Lord of the Rings in 5th grade, I was fascinated by languages throughout my teenage years. I even invented multiple constructed languages. When I went to college, I majored in linguistics. My mother was convinced that I was going to be a linguist, and that it was my life's passion. Then, I suddenly lost all interest in school, got bad grades, dropped out. I took a year off, then went back to school and changed my major to physics, of all things. I had been struck by inspiration by the great Carl Sagan, and wanted to be a scientist. I suddenly went from being a D student to being a B student. For the first time, I really knew what I wanted to do in life, instead of having simply some vague idea. But my mom still has this linguistics thing stuck in her head, and she keeps talking about my current coursework as if she thinks it's some kind of phase. She seems to be completely oblivious to how passionate I am about physics. Or, alternatively, she does see how passionate I am about physics, and assumes that this is a sign my interest will eventually burn out. It won't. Physics and I are newlyweds. Yes, eventually we'll just be an old married couple, but I'll still love her. When I was 10, a little show started called Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. If you've never heard of it, it's been on TV for 21 years. Well, my parents didn't have money to buy me the toys, so I made my own morpher and weapons out of sticks and cardboard and whatever else I could. I even made a cardboard Green Ranger shield which I wore all the time. I begged my parents for karate lessons but again couldn't afford them. Now I'm 30 and this past weekend I met Jason David Frank at a convention in Richmond, VA. The actor who played Tommy the Green Ranger. It was everything I had ever hoped it would be. He was a complete class act the whole weekend with every single fan. TLDR. I love Power Rangers. It's not a phase, except I have to explain that to my wife, not my mom. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.